Yo, what is up gamers? My name is Russ. Welcome back to another video. Just a quick one for you guys today. I keep getting this question a lot on stream and in the YouTube comments and stuff like that. And people are not 100% sure how to use the best in slot trinket for all situation on a Demon Hunter, which is the cache of acquired treasures. Now this one drops from Artificer Xy'mox in the Sepulcher raid and is, as I said, best in pretty much all situations. I can't really think of a situation you take this off. It just does so much damage. When you look at kind of like overall in dungeons, it does almost twice as much as like an ooze, and this is, you know, this is a theater of pain, not really a very AoE dungeon. You can see this doing up to like 6 to maybe even 7% of your overall damage in the dungeon if you use it correctly, which is really high value for a trinket. So I myself have a mythic one because I'm lucky and I'm a guild master and master of a loot council, so I'm kind of corrupt. So I managed to nab myself a mythic one, but people are a little bit confused in how it works. So I'm just going to break it down for you guys. Feel free, by the way, to at any point throughout this video, if you like it, make sure you give it a like. It helps spread it to people who probably want to see it if it's of interest to them. And feel free to swing by the stream, twitch.tv/JustRuss. Information on all that will be down in the description below. Okay, so let's get into it. Let me explain how it works. Essentially, there are 3 items inside this cache of acquired treasures. There is a wand, a sword, and an axe. Okay, the wand just does a bunch of damage. You see it here. I've got the wand right now. It just does a bunch of damage, single target, about 40k a hit, roughly. The sword will give you a stacking up amount of haste, about 100 per stack, stacking up to 10 times, and it will apply it will stack 98 haste per stack, so 980 haste when it's fully stacked up, and it will stack on crit. And the axe will just do a bunch of damage, 1.2k over 3 seconds, just like a very small mini dot over 3 seconds every time that you crit as well. Now the axe just straight up does the most damage. It does the best in single target, it does the best in AoE. So the way it works is it cycles. I have a WeakAuras for it here. I'll link this WeakAuras down below. There are a lot of similar ones also on wago.io. If you want to get a different one, customize it, whatever. There are a bunch of different ones which do pretty much the same thing. This is one I use and the one that I'll link down in the description below, okay? So it cycles through these weapons. Each weapon, like the cycle, lasts for 12 seconds. So let's say wand is 1, sword is 2, and axe is 3, okay? It will just cycle through wand for 12 seconds, then it will cycle through sword for 12 seconds, and it will cycle through axe for 12 seconds. It's important to know as well that the trinket will always cycle in the exact same order. So it will always go wand, sword, axe, wand, sword, axe, wand, sword, axe. I always use wand as a starting point, but you could say it goes axe, wand, sword, whatever. But it will always cycle in the same order. So you can use the WeakAuras to kind of predict what's coming next. As long as you know that each one's 12 seconds, you can kind of see a wand coming and you'll be like, okay, that means that the axe is going to be ready in 24 seconds. So you can kind of plan, you can use it a little bit to plan your cooldowns by doing some 12 times tables, I guess, to work out kind of like which axe is going to be ready at which point. Now when you use the trinket, you'll pull whichever currently cycling weapon it is. So if I use the trinket while the fireball's cycling, it will use the wand, the fireball, yeah. If I pull it while a sword is showing, I'll get the haste thing, and then I'll have to start stacking up the haste. And if I pull it while the axe is active, then I'll grab the axe from the cache, and now I have the axe for 25 seconds. So you pull it within a 12-second window, and the buff lasts for 25 seconds, okay? So important to know that with timings and stuff like I-beams, because I'm going to explain now how it works when you've pulled it. And that is basically your crits are going to apply a bleed to everything, and that sounds really great. The catch is that not everything actually applies on crit. So the only items that can actually, or the only abilities that can actually proc this bleed on your targets is not, so Immolation Aura does not work. I'll just pull the axe here anyway. So you can see here, here's my main target. Demon's Bite does work if I get a crit with it. I am apparently not getting a crit with it. Demon's Bite does work though, I have tested this, there you go. Chaos Strike does work. I-Beam works AoE, so that's a very good one. Blade Dance does not work. Immolation Aura does not work. Bow Rush does work. You see I Fell Rush and I got it on 2 targets there, which were not my main target. So Fell Rush works, I-Beam works, and your single target abilities, Demon Spy and Chaos Strike work. Blade Dance does not work AoE or even on your main target, Immolation Aura either. And Chaos Nova does work, but it's very rarely that you're gonna like Chaos Nova for damage. So, you know, if you happen to need to AoE stun while it's up, then cool, maybe your Chaos Nova will apply a bleed to everything. Cool, that's like extra damage, but I wouldn't rely on it. So in AoE, you're mainly going to get your damage through I-Beam and maybe your Unbound Chaos procs. Now you might be tempted to just Fell Rush through stuff, and that's probably a damage increase in like big AoE. It's probably worth the global with the axe up to like Fell Rush through a pack of 20 mobs to try and get some crits, and that probably would be fine. But you've got to kind of weigh up if you're close to getting an I-Beam reset, you might want to spam Chaos Strikes to get Cycle of Hatred procs. So this is with the raid build, which is like the main Mythic Plus build that people are running. These are talents, so you might want to fish for Cycle of Hatred procs to cool down your I-Beam, so that you can maybe get a 3rd I-Beam in the window. And I'll show you kind of like what the burst combo looks like now in a second, now that you understand how the trinket works, right? Then I'll give a bonus tip on how you can kind of cheese it a little bit to make sure that you always have the axe ready, at least at the beginning of a dungeon, for like a big pull at the start of the dungeon, right? So I'll show you now how the burst combo works. I'm going to wait for my axe to be ready, but essentially what we're going to be doing is pulling the axe when it's ready. Now then you want to be I-beaming as soon as you can. If you have meta, then you'll want to meta and then I-beam a second time to get the bleeds refreshed and everything. And then you want to be Chaos Striking as much as you can to search for those Cycle of Hatred procs to hopefully get a 3rd I-Beam in that 25-second window. So I'm gonna pull the axe now. Let's say I'm in a pool here. Pull the axe. I'm gonna I-Beam. Then I'm gonna Death Sweep. Then I'm gonna meta, I-Beam again, Death Sweep again, and now I'm looking for these procs. I can use my Unbound Chaos. I'm just gonna try and get as many Cycle of Hatred resets. What you're looking for is to get that 3rd I-Beam in the window, and I get it here, and then you get a 3rd I-Beam, and then you can use your Unbound Chaos again. So that's kind of like your burst combo. That's gonna be pretty much as much damage as you can get out in one combo. And you'll see now that my trinket does 300k damage in one use. That's pretty good. That's just on 5 targets, right? If you get that on like a pack of 20 mobs, there's no kind of like, this trinket just scales up and up and up. So that was on 5 mobs. If I did this on a pack of 20 mobs, it would have done 4 times that damage, right? So that would have been a 1.2 million use, which would have been insane. I think at least. I think it just scales infinitely. So that's kind of like the ideal combo. Now you can kind of hold this trinket because with the 4-set bonus, the meta is going to be around like a 3-minute 15, 3-minute 20 cooldown, depending on, you know, how fast your group's going with procs and stuff like that. Like, it will roughly sync up to every trinket use, so you can actually hold this trinket for using it with I-Beam, meta I-Beam, searching for that 3rd I-Beam. That's like your big combo. And as I said, you want to be just using your Unbound Chaos procs, so you can use your globals on Chaos Strike to try and get the I-Beam cooled down. At minimum, you'll get 2 I-Beams if you use it this way into the trinket, which will still be like a 200k. Like, let's just say each I-Beam is roughly 100k value in this situation. You'll still get like a 200k use, which is still good. But if you use it really, really well, you will see insane amounts of damage come out of this trinket. Not as much as maybe like a sub-rogue will have, because they have Shuriken Storms. They can proc it on every single Shuriken Storm and every single Black Powder. So rogues kind of do, like, it just works better for them. But it can still be good with Demon Hunter because you have the guaranteed crit of your I-Beam, right? So you want to hit that I-Beam on as many targets as possible while you have the axe pulled. That's like the big max DPS combo. And now I will give you one last final tip on kind of like how to cheese it if you are running your own key, for example, or if you're doing any keys, you can kind of just ask for the leader just to do the pull timer at the start so you can match up your trinket, right? So quite a lot of the dungeons, you tend to do like a big pull at the beginning, right? Let's say, for example, you're doing a necrotic wake, right? The tank's going to pull 2 or 3 or 4 packs or something at the very beginning. Maybe you bloodlust, maybe you don't, but you know that there's going to be 15, 20 mobs or something stacked up in front of you, right? So let's say, for example, you want to pop meta on that to get your sinful brands up and do a bunch of AoE, or maybe it's a gambit or something like that. And you're doing all the murlocs at the start. You know it's going to be a big pull. You want to have your axe ready for your burst phase, right? So obviously you could just pre-pull meta and then save your meta and use it on the next pack. But if, for example, you do want to use your meta on the first pack to get your brands up, there's a cool thing you can do. Let's say you ask for the leader, so you can do the pull timer. Now the trick here is you're still going to do your pre-pull meta or whatever because it's just free and there's no reason not to. I'm not going to do it in the example because I'm not putting a keystone in, so I can't reset it, right? But here's a cool little trick. You basically want to wait. So let's say I have leader. You want to wait until it's just switching away from the axe. So I'm going to wait until the axe is here. I'm going to get my pull timer ready just so I can show you the example. So as this axe is now expiring, I'm going to do my pull timer right before this expires. And the timers should work up, so I always have my axe ready just roughly at the time when the pulls, like we're gonna be pulling a pack. So let's say this is the pull timer. I'm gonna do my Immolation Aura, I'm gonna do my Blood Elf, gonna do my Eye Beam, and then I'm gonna meta on 0. Then I'm gonna put the key in, loading screen, and then another pull timer comes right when the key's counting down to begin. And now you see this this sword is just about to expire. So let's say like the bubble disappears or something, and now the tank's running in, gathering up the mobs. I'm getting ready. I can put up my Immolation Aura, do all this, running into the pack, pull my axe, Eye Beam, Death Sweep, meta, Eye Beam, Death Sweep, Bell Rush, and then we just start going to town, right? Now we just start looking for those procs, looking for those procs. And hoping that we're gonna get this last Eye Beam inside, and it looks like we got it real easy. Boom, third Eye Beam. I can use one last Unbound Chaos, and there we go. We got, let's see how much damage, 321k damage out of the trinket on just 5 targets. So absolutely insane amount of damage you can put out with this. And again, it's a scalable trinket, so the better you use it, the insane reward that you're gonna see, right? Anyway, I just thought I'd make that quick video because people keep asking me how to use it. Go farm Xy'mox if you haven't got this one already. It's good on normal, it's good on heroic, it's really good on mythic, but it is just like by far the best trinket. And it's kind of a cool one to use. It's also really annoying to use. And again, as I said, on single target, you just pull the axe. Never pull anything else on single target apart from the axe. And I kind of explained, maybe you can pull the sword, maybe on AoE, if you really can't wait and you need to burst. But I would always advise going for the axe and never fucking pull the wand. If you'd like to see any of my other content, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'll leave a couple guides for Vented Demon Hunter up on the screen for you now. So click those right now, and I'll see you in the next one as always. Peace.